I've been playing Days Gone for about 2 weeks now. On one hand, its narrative is exceptional. The characters are grounded in reality with flaws and all. The choreography for each scene and the writing shows that the development team had a great deal of passion to cultivate each character you encounter. However, many of Days Gone's best features are negatively impacted with technical problems that are impossible to ignore, all highlighting that the game was not ready to release and needed more time. It's a shame really. Days Gone has many positive features, but the many shortcomings that it has were preventable. Hello everyone, my name is Adam, and these are my unpopular opinions for Days Gone. Days Gone stars Deacon St. John, a biker now surviving in a world ravaged by a new virus called the Freaker virus. Taking place 2 years after the global outbreak, Deacon is attempting to survive in this new hostile world with his best friend Boozer, performing jobs for various camps in exchange for camp credits. Much of the story is separated into several portions, some exploring the past with each focused on a single objective. Early on, your primary goal is taking care of Boozer following a fatal incident that leaves him unable to leave the camp. As the game progresses, new objectives are constantly being provided that extend new narrative paths and introduce different characters, building on Deacon's life, the people around him, and the Freaker virus. Deacon is not a hero, and the game doesn't make an attempt to showcase him as one. Everyone in this world is attempting to survive, and the game makes note of this based on their actions. Days Gone tackles a lot of dark themes, and how far people can be pushed if not only their lives are on the line, but finding purpose in a world that is now completely destroyed. During much of the game, Deacon is efficiently shown every line he has crossed, such as killing without mercy, the desire to keep living, and euthanizing people when death is certain. Days Gone may have an exceptionally written narrative, but the myriad of technical problems simply destroy the most profound moments in the game. In the later third of the game, audio and animation in synchronization leads to what is shown on screen moving faster than what is said, with some cutscenes cutting off before everything is said.
Deacon, I'm so sorry that no one came. I guess we really pissed off everyone, on both sides.
I mean, not.
This coupled with texture failings to load and drops in the frame rate, and you have a recipe for disaster. Those playing on a base PlayStation 4 model will experience these problems much more frequently than on a PlayStation 4 Pro. These issues are simply unacceptable and show that Days Gone was not ready for a shipment. The Freakers serve as the primary reason behind the destruction of modern civilization. The virus not only affected humans but other mammals as well, such as bears, wolves, and birds. These are shown in the game, but the story explains that many other creatures can be infected as well. The Freakers are different from traditional zombies that they're not dead. They attack anything on sight with the practice of self-preservation such as dodging gunfire, and will actively consume anything, including other Freakers, to stay alive. The story does a great job of explaining the extensive ecological destruction the virus has caused, increasing the speed, strength, and aggression of various creatures that go beyond their initial biological makeup. But it also serves as an issue. You're teased with so many different variations of Freakers, but most of them are just variations of zombies seen in other games, such as the Screamer that lures infected to your location, the Breaker is just a tank from Left 4 Dead, and there's another powerful variation that I won't say for the sake of spoilers, but you'll basically link this to another creature from Left 4 Dead. The most dangerous example of the Freakers is the Horde, a bunch of common infected bundled together that attack in unison. These massive mobs of creatures are the most formidable challenges in the game, but they quickly lose their appeal as well as you face the 10th or even 12th Horde. The most powerful Horde you face within the campaign actually, so once you defeat that Horde, every other Horde within the game is basically no challenge to the player. The story itself can be predicted, but the developers have included some shocking moments to keep players on their toes. Like The Last of Us, it's how this overused zombie concept of the world being taken over by a plague or virus that matters most. Days Gone's take on the zombie apocalypse is well done, but due to the many avoidable problems that the game faces, it's completely destroyed. Some of the most profound scenes in the game are completely annihilated because of the audio insynchronization, the texture pop-ins, the frame rate drops, all technical problems that could have been avoided if the game was maybe in development for another month. Days Gone functions as an adequate third-person shooter with some stealth elements. Deacon can hold only 3 weapons, a sidearm, primary weapon, and specialized weapon, which comes in the way of large machine guns or sniper rifles. Third-person shooting is effective but prone to issues. For example, after rolling, it can be common for your weapon to lock up and not shoot at all. During horde battles, this can be the difference between life and death. Ammo is also limited, so is supplies, as you might expect. Deacon must scavenge what he can find from the environment to craft necessary items, but some are available through the camp, but not everything. You can purchase ammo and medkits, but most items need to be crafted. Melee attacks are available, and unlike guns, your melee weapons can break. There's a lot of different options, but eventually you gain access to a very powerful option of a melee weapon that makes everything else basically obsolete. The crafting system is limited and can get annoying. This is because the game not only highlights interactive items, but also entry and exit points. Doors, the breaks in walls, ladders, and other forms of interactive pieces of the environment are all highlighted, which is a bit questionable. Why highlight all these different areas? It makes you wonder, can I go in here and pick up a special health item or a bottle, something that you can use, but instead it's just a door. Another thing is the interface when selecting items. It is incredibly sensitive and unreliable. Picking a specific item during dire situations can lead to wrong selections most of the time. It's completely bizarre considering it's like the weapon wheels used in Resistance and Ratchet and Clank, which were a lot better implemented, but here it's so unreliable that often I would select the pipe bomb over a Molotov frequently. Deacon will need to sneak sometimes, and stealth is serviceable like the third-person combat. You can use a rock or an attractor to distract enemies. The game highlights a single enemy that can be distracted using the rock, and enemies cannot detect you while you're inside a bush unless they're in close proximity or see you prior to hiding. Weather also plays a vital role in stealth, as enemies can't see that well in the rain and during nighttime as opposed to a clear day, whereas the infected actually are much more active during the night and can see you much better. You can regain your hidden status if found, which is nice, but expect enemies to have uneven sense of awareness. Sometimes they can't notice you within inches of their body, and other times they can see you from hundreds of feet away. It's a common problem within open world games, so I expected this as much, but it can become incredibly infuriating nevertheless. Be prepared to kill hundreds of freakers and humans, as Days Gone is littered with tedious objectives. Many of the game's objectives will have Deacon playing errand boy in search of specific items and performing the same task over and over again. The game attempts to refresh the same bounty mission or collecting task by offering different areas to explore, but you can use the same hide in bush, lure an enemy with a rock, and kill the target strategy from many of these missions. In addition, players have to commit to various base missions that include burning out freaker nests, destroying abandoned camp, and unlocking abandoned Nero bunkers for health, stamina, bullet time increase, and injectors. These areas also serve as fast travel stations and reduce the amount of hostile enemies in that area, offering more benefits to those who complete them. The game also encourages these missions by providing loyalty points and camp credits. Both are specific to each camp, and earning them offer new options such as weapons and services that are not available if the player has low loyalty. There is definitely a grind, but those who complete the optional missions and occasionally turn in items such as meat and bounties earned by killing freakers will have more than enough credits and earn enough loyalty. During my hard playthrough, I never encountered the point where I needed to grind for credits.
Because it's a waste of
Just like the
time.
animation and shooting issues, missions can have their own technical problems. During my playthrough, I encountered an entire area that refused to load. This made it impossible to complete a specific optional mission, forcing me to restart the entire game to access that locked area. This is an open world game, and the bike serves as Deacon's most important piece of equipment, not only for travel, but for several other features. This vehicle not only serves as transport, but your fast travel station, save point, and second inventory. You constantly have to babysit this thing and maintain it with fuel or fix it when it's damaged. Eventually this becomes second nature, learning the best place to place your bike in specific location in case you need a quick getaway and constantly upgrade it. The primary issue with the bike is that it constantly needs fuel. You'll have to constantly look for fuel cans since fast traveling takes fuel. During the early parts of the game, it becomes increasingly common to have to make 2 stops just to get to a specific location since you have to refuel. And with the game having inconsistent load times, some taking 10 seconds and other time taking nearly 50 seconds, Anger doesn't properly convey how I really felt about these situations. Especially when the largest storage container can take up to 45 seconds to manually refuel. Why?
Here we go. Good.
While having to constantly fuel your bike can become vexing, exploring the world is quite fun. It's full of diverse locations such as forests, dark caves, and snowy areas. The game does provide dynamic missions such as ambushes and saving people to encourage exploration, but unless you have a primary goal in mind such as facing a horde or conquering a base, there's very little reason to explore. There's nothing like hidden items or hidden guns to find. It's just a very blank open world that serves the purpose for specific missions. The leveling system is very traditional. You gain experience by completing missions and killing enemies that can be invested into one of 3 trees. A lot of these skills are useful, such as repair and melee weapons, bullet penetration, and reloading while running. As Deacon gains more skills, the game actually becomes increasingly easier since enemies rarely change. Most can be taken down with the same tactics, and with the exception of some large hordes, most players will find the game becoming increasingly easier as you gain more options to take down your enemies. The most hated feature that I could not get past in Days Gone was the damn touchpad. The player can access the menu using the touchpad, which is a quick and easy way to access menus such as maps, skill trees, optional collectibles, and other things within the menu. But I accidentally constantly swiped on the touchpad when in a tense situation, causing frustrating breaks within the action. I absolutely wanted this feature to be turned off, but I couldn't, leading to many annoying moments when I was being chased by a horde or during an intense battle and accidentally swiped the touchpad. While I've addressed that the many issues with this game is the audio problems within cutscenes, the voice acting and sound effects are actually very well done. The graphics, the atmosphere, and the sound design often complement the dread, intensity, or confrontational moments within the game. The soundtrack in particular is amazing and rarely disappoints. As I stated before, the writing is exceptional and the body language from each of the avatars shares that level of quality. You can often see what the character is feeling based on their body language and facial expressions. What makes the sound issues that more annoying, however, is because of these problems. Greatly choreographed and incredibly voiced scenes are avoided because of the same technical problems. I cannot stress that enough. These problems were avoidable, and yet they are in the game. Days Gone isn't a terrible game, but it's not an exceptional one either. I understand that many expected an outstanding experience similar to other Sony exclusives like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Uncharted 4, or Spider-Man PS4, and while Days Gone doesn't reach that same heights, it's still a great game. It's an excellent addition to the PS4 exclusive library. I would recommend it to any PlayStation 4 user, but at the same time, I would say hold off because all those technical problems need to be resolved before it can reach its very deserved heights. And that's a shame. Days Gone had a lot more potential to be something greater than it is right now. If only these massive issues were fixed, it would have been a much more compelling experience than it is right now.
It's not like you to just take off without talking to me.
Okay.
So that's it?